Hi, I'm Greg Uland with Reynolds, and this is Connected at the NADA show in New Orleans. Right now, I get to sit down with Mike Hanna, CEO at TrueSpot. Mike, thanks so much for joining me.
My pleasure. Great to be here.
We had to talk last year, too.
We did, yes. Make this an annual event. I love it.
We'll do. Yes, absolutely. So give me a refresh for everybody. I hope everybody knows, but just in case, give me a refresh on TrueSpot, exactly what you guys do, and where you're at and what you're seeing at the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. So TrueSpot, I'll start with we're a real-time location system. So we track cars and keys. We have a proprietary multi-patented system that is campus-based, multi-campus, that tells you exactly where every car and key is at in real time. So that's kind of where we started. And we can do that better than anybody else in automotive and healthcare and other industries as well. But what gets really exciting is taking that location and applying it to operations, and then integrating with partners. So like with KeyTrack, AutoVision, ReconVision, being able to surface that location in each of those solutions, but then also being able to apply it in whatever sense it makes sense, right? So if I'm at KeyTrack and I'm handing to check out a key, hey, well, it's immediately surface car and key location for that salesperson. So as they're heading out to the car, they save time, they save headache, they save hassle, and they just serve the customer better. So tons of use cases that just kind of multiply as we start to integrate more with partner companies. So
yeah. So at a high level, how does it work? I mean, key tags, and then like just you don't have to go super deep unless you want to. That's fine.
Make it a tech talk. Yeah. So the system is low power radio technology. So I'll start with the campus first. So we're a private network operator. So we're like I like to say we're like a mini Verizon or mini AT&T. So we have like a network operations center with all these kind of blinking lights and different things. But we approach it because that's where we come from cellular, building and managing and operating these cellular networks. We approach it the same way. So at a campus level, we're monitoring everything. We make sure it's all working the way it's supposed to. But that gives us coverage across the campus, whatever we want to track, parking garages, subterranean basements, et cetera. And then on top of that, we deploy a series of gateways. So the gateways can be solar powered, they can be battery only powered, they can be plug-in. Whatever the use case is, we have a solution for it to track every key and car, wherever you want to track it to. And then on the assets, cars and keys and dealer plates and anything in between, is a little low power radio tracker. Bluetooth Low Energy is the technology there. So as everything moves, we're just continually tracking them all in real time. And again, reporting that location to say, hey, I need a car and a key and I need to know where it's at right now. So our simple base case, technology-wise, we can do that better, faster, and less expensively than anybody, just the way we built the system. But then, like I kind of mentioned before, it gets super interesting when you start to apply that to operations.
Right.
Like to know a car's in a service bay and it sat there too long, or to know, hey, I got parts coming in on these service vehicles, and I got 6 cars sitting in my parts waiting, and 2 of the parts came in overnight. Well, I want to make sure that whoever's doing the work gets notified that that's the case. And so those are the things, just as a couple examples, that you really start to apply location intelligence. And we've been doing this for a long time, since 2016. And we're starting to see kind of this adoption curve in the industry where everybody's like starting to realize the value that's there.
Yeah.
And again, not just the car and key location, because keys are expensive.
Yeah.
You lose one, you're paying $300, $1,000. And you're losing time, rekeying it and all those sort of things. So that's obviously a great value proposition. But let's take it to a whole new level and just apply location into operations. Could be automation. A lot of AI sort of things start to surface from the capability.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like the example that you just mentioned that I'll call out again is looking at a vehicle, right? Is in a bay, it's on a lift, it's getting an oil change, and it's been sitting there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
There should be an alert that triggers and says, hey,
Absolutely.
Go see what's going on in bay 7.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's something holding this vehicle up. It shouldn't be sitting there any longer. That's a really interesting, simple but interesting use case.
Yeah. And you can apply that so many different times, in so many different ways. And that's really partnering with Reynolds, understanding more of those depth of use cases and how we can start to apply that. Like we're just getting started, that, but it's so exciting when you start to think about all the opportunities and the ability to execute and bring the power of that location to every application, every facet of the dealership.
So how, this is maybe a basic question, but the tags, they don't have a battery in them, right?
No, they do.
They do have a battery. So how long do they last? I guess is really my question.
It's a great question. So the system has to be simple, has to always perform. Part of that is things have to last for a long time. So our tags typically are a 3+ year battery life. And then a lot of IP, like we design with partners, manufacture the tags. So a lot of things I won't get into too deep, but the tag itself, great sealed case, IP62. So we're going to go through the wash. We're going to do all kinds of crazy stuff and take a beating, but also a replaceable battery. So we monitor battery levels. We know what battery levels are. We warn you. We don't let you tag an asset if the battery's too low, but get 3 years of performance. And then a lot of our tags are like 2032 coin cell, so you can easily swap them, replace them. And we have a battery service too for some of our dealers, just because they want more full service. Well, we can swap them, do the batteries for you, send them back as well. So
interesting. So it's the same battery that goes in a key, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So it's very familiar to this. So we're gonna make sure you don't lose the key, and then what the keys that well, you're not gonna take a battery out of the key, but anyway, point being, same one. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And then how accurate is it? Like, because you have, everybody's got like Find My Phone, right? Or whatever it might be. And usually it's pretty accurate. It gets you pretty darn close. But are you talking within inches, feet? Like how close does it get you?
Yeah, so it's one of those, it depends. So the system is designed with multiple layers, and depending on the use case. So we'll take you to a key in a drawer down to the last inch, or if you have a key hidden in your pocket, we're going to be able to find that and do that within seconds. But so different technology kind of integrated, all working together. The base solution, as we kind of talked about, that campus network. So it depends on how we design that as well. So outdoors, typically 3-4 parking spots, kind of the typical implementation at an average dealership. Indoors is going to be more finite because you have closed spaces and keys are smaller. So we designed the system to be a little bit more accurate. But if you want to know a car's in a service bay, like the example before, fine, easy enough for us to do that. You typically at a dealership don't want every single service bay. So, it's like service bay 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It costs a little bit more. We add a little bit more infrastructure, a little bit of the little gateways. That's how we do that. And so the costs go up. If the business case is there, we'll do it. But most times for dealers, there may be 1 or 2 bays, or hey, there's 4 bays, 4 bays, 4 bays, 4 bays. And that's kind of how we set it up. So the question you might ask then is like, okay, but I'm looking for a key. I need to find it. And if I have 4 bays with tools and stuff everywhere, that's not going to do me a lot of good. I know it's there somewhere.
General vicinity.
Yeah. But I would probably never find it. Maybe it's even in a seat back or fell in between the center console. Happens all the time. So take that example. There's service bay. We tell you we did kind of a quad deployment where it's in one of these 4 service bays. So the moment you get close, so on your mobile apps, your iPhone, your Android, we're going to alert you that you're actually in proximity of that key physically.
So it tells you you're getting warmer.
You're getting warmer. So the beauty of, we call it MODAR, mobile radar, but the beauty of that is that as you walk into that area, you'll get an audio and a visual notification that, okay, you're actually close now. You're actually within throwing distance of this key. And so then it prompts you to go into this MODAR experience, which kind of changes from a map view to a proximity view. And then you just use your phone as kind of a hot cold sensor and walk around until you find it. And we do some really cool stuff to make that a really seamless experience. But some of our proprietary tech, but effectively making that, like, you need to find something, find it quickly, and it's a great experience to do it. That's what MODAR is. Yeah.
So how does that work? Because the tag is pinging your receivers. I'm using the
gateways.
wrong word.
No, gateways. Yep.
So the tag's pinging the gateway, and the gateway doesn't have the really finite location data. It's got a general area.
Correct.
So how does the tag then switch to kind of using what technology in the phone is there to allow it to pinpoint it? Yeah,
some of it's proprietary, but effectively what happens, and at a super high level, so these little trackers have 3+ year battery life, they effectively ping every 7 seconds.
Okay. And
that's what's talking to that network of gateways, and that system, that data is all coming into our system, and that's how we're tracking everything in real time as things move. But 7-second pings are not very conducive to a good user experience if you're only getting a new piece of data every 7 seconds for doing like hot, cold. And so what we do is basically reset the tag so that it's now pinging every 500 milliseconds. So that experience, now you're getting 14 times more data technically as you're moving around, so that experience is actually really seamless. But it's basically just a ping rate based on relative signal strength. So as you get closer, that changes, and we have a UI, user experience, that shows you that in real time. So that's like, Greg, if you're hiding a key in your pocket,
right,
And because you have a customer coming for a test drive, and I got a customer that's already here. It's like, it's in the sales tower. And Greg goes, haven't seen the key. And then I was like, no, you actually have it in your pocket. I can tell right now. Like, hand it over. You're like, darn it. But yeah. So that's kind of the technical kind of piece. It's a low power radio that kind of talks between phone and tag itself.
So does the phone, in essence, become kind of a gateway when the app's open?
It can, absolutely. Different use case. So if you go off lot, so the campus system, your primary campus, your recon center, if you have partner body shops, that sort of stuff, we want to have analogous, even if it's just a small network at each of those locations. So as assets move, we're tracking them all the time in real time. Now, stuff does leave the lot, obviously a lot. And so if it's a key or a car even, the mobile device will act as a gateway. So the TrueSpot app effectively knows where you're at from the lat long of the phone. Basically just synergizes that with the actual tag itself and says, this key or this car is at this person's house or at this restaurant or whatever. Yeah. So there is a little bit of, you have to have the app recently open just as a qualifier. Otherwise, it'll go to sleep. Apple and Android don't like things working in the background, but the app will go to sleep at a certain amount of time. But effectively, that allows kind of this off-lot tracking. And then we have GPS devices, too. If it's really about a car being tracked off-lot, easy to plug and play those as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, you don't want a bunch of stuff running in the background because everybody needs battery, right?
Yeah, only music and phone calls. Apple and Android that you do
That's
now.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll talk a little bit, Mike, about collaboration with KeyTrack this year.
Yeah.
You guys launched some really cool integration last year.
Yeah.
And again, just like recap for everybody, KeyTrack is at a very, very high level, right? It's key security. Key goes in a drawer, and then we have responsibility and chain of ownership, right? So if somebody takes a key out, we know who that is. They have to be verified, and so we know who has that key. But we don't always know where that key is in your example, right? So Johnny was responsible for it. Well, Johnny dropped it out in the parking lot or whatever. It slipped, to your point, inside, down in between the seat and the center console.
Yeah.
Johnny's responsible for it, but he doesn't know where it is either. So then being able to partner with TrueSpot and to tie those two things together is really, really powerful.
Yeah.
But you guys have been doing a lot of work over the last 12 months as well. So talk a little bit about the work that you've accomplished and what you've done there.
Yeah, well, it's been fantastic. So the KeyTrack team and the Reynolds team. So some of these things we're talking about now, there's limitless potential, like how you apply location, how you use it. So, starting with the base things that we did, we integrate location so KeyTrack can consume it. So when you're at KeyTrack and you're checking out the key, the biometric security, all that stuff is handled, and you're getting a real-time view of, hey, where's that key and where's that car? And so that's just a time savings just out of the gate. Like, hey, I need to get to this car, and you got salesmen that are moving fast and running, and it makes the whole experience more seamless, better customer service at the end of the day. So that was kind of the first base case. Now, KeyTrack has added our MODAR mode as well. So we have a little code we bundle up and help facilitate that. But so now on the app, on the KeyTrack app side, you have all that capability also in the palm of your hands. So car, key location, you don't have to go to the KeyTrack machine necessarily to see it, which you can always do. And if you need to get the key, you have to go there. But to your point, what if that key is actually not even in the machine? Somebody else already checked it out. And KeyTrack has this capability for a long time. You can actually hand off between salespeople, like chain of ownership, that sort of thing. But now we're helping you get to Johnny, who has the key on the back lot or whatever the case may be, because you have another customer for a test drive. You could do that seamless handover chain of ownership, but you never would have known where Johnny was or where that key was until you happened upon him like late in the day, sort of thing. So making all that work together is just super powerful. And once it's one of those things, once you have it as a dealer, there's no going back. It's like the internet. Before you had the internet, you didn't know what you were missing or what the benefits were.
Sure.
Once you had it, there's no going back. It's a utility, and so we view location kind of as potentially the next utility, just because the power is so deep and so immense and so affecting to operations that to go from having it to not having it is a very painful experience. So,
yeah, well, and I love to. You were talking about having it in the palm of your hand, right? The work that you've done in the app, and then the MODAR mode that you're talking about. Both of those things I think are really, really powerful and honestly kind of game changers because they just make things so much easier, so much more efficient, and take steps out of the process, which I love.
Yeah, and they add up many times over, many salesmen over. So it's fun to see, like, and fixed ops, like going back to time on wrench and those sort of things. Like we can see those things. Maybe 10 minutes a day per tech, like looking for cars and keys, but that's billable hours, and those things add up. You get 20 techs, 6 days a week, whatever those things are, it starts to get really interesting really quickly.
Hey, every 6 minutes is a tenth of an hour.
Yeah, sure.
You know, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So no, that's great stuff. What's next for TrueSpot? So it seems like I got to know you a little bit last year and kind of your history, and you don't seem like somebody that really is content sitting still. So it seems like there's always something coming.
Yeah.
Where's your head at? Where are you leading into right now?
Yeah. We got a lot of stuff going on there. So we never stop innovating. So the system that we've built just we call it AccuFind, AQFIND. So that's our location platform as a service. Ton of IP, a lot of patents, really not anything else that's comparable in any industry, automotive or other aside. So we continue to innovate on that. It's pretty amazing just what we do when you talk about radio and interference and mitigation and different algorithms and things that are really kind of super radio head specific, and we kind of come out of that cellular space, and so it's kind of second nature to us. But it puts us at a significant advantage over other companies that look at, hey, let's track cars and keys and try to look at this. Hey, this TrueSpot does this with this private network. Let's try to go do that, and then I think they bang their heads against the wall and go, that's crazy. So point is, we continue to innovate on that wireless network. We will lead in that space, and that's just one of the things that we're just passionate about. So that's just the base level. That's some of the under the cover sort of stuff. But there's some really cool stuff that we just released, and we continue to release kind of as that goes. And then new products that work with that system, like new gateway products.
Yeah.
This one we're introducing into automotive, but it was driven by our healthcare business. So we're also in hospitals, tracking biomedical gear and wheelchairs, and super excited about that business. It
seems like a no-brainer too. Just like
it's massive.
All the things that are carried on a cart, even.
It's insane. It's insane how many assets a hospital has, and critical assets, and super expensive. Like keys $300 to $1,000.
Right.
An average piece of equipment in a hospital could be $2,000, $3,000,
right.
And they're super small, not maybe the size of key in most cases, but pretty close. Get rolled up in sheets, and then a $3,000 telemetry brick just gets thrown out with the laundry. Happens all the time. Actually, not to go too deep into the healthcare side, but kind of industry average loss is about $4,000 to $5,000 per bed.
Oh, wow.
So per year. And so if you take a hospital with 400 beds, that means they lost $2 million of equipment that year. And then they lose $2 more million the next year. So that's the problem we're addressing. So we had really cool solutions, proximity alarms, things like that, along with the location services to basically arrest those pain points. But to kind of keep going with that. So kind of the initial integrations we've done with AutoVision and Recon Vision. There's so much more as we continue to kind of work through those that create value. Some of the things that I mentioned, just to give a quick example of, I may have said it before, but even parts waiting. So maybe it's a fixed ops deployment, and there's maybe 50, 60 cars that are there. Actually, probably a lot more than that a lot of times, but maybe there's 10 or 15 that are just parts waiting, and so you're waiting. So we can designate and create an area on the lot if a dealer parks those cars in a certain area, which happens more times than not. And then what happens if that part comes in? Well, as long as we're integrated, depending on the fixed op system, we can prioritize that, send alerts to the techs, or even through Reynolds surface that information, so that things just go faster and more efficient. So those are the next things so we have reports and analytics, but integrating that more with Reynolds, and there's tons of opportunities. Those things are super, super exciting, and beyond doing location, get us super excited, because then we're like, okay, now we're touching the business operations. I can see people moving faster, more efficiently,
right,
and customer service being impacted in a positive way. So
I love it. That's all good stuff. All right, well, Mike, thank you so much for taking time off the floor to sit down with me. It was great to catch up, and I can't wait for what's next.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to next year.
All right, thanks, Mike.